Hello again. Thank you all for joining me for another edition. Well, this is a special edition. Um, this is just kind of a shout out to a guy named Rob Walker who put out a vinyl tag for 2024, a series of questions to get to know some of the people in the vinyl community. So, I'm participating for the first time. So I'm not in the store. The last time I posted a video like this, someone said, "What's that thing up on the shelf up there?" That is a sculpture that my wife made back in college based on a set of bones. So it's heavy as anything, and it's good for weighing things down, like heavy records. So there it sits. So let me get started. There are 20 questions. If you want to get to know a little bit of your Electric Avenue person, Jason. All right. First of all, favorite album of 2023. What was your favorite? I think I discussed this in a video already. It was Sparks. The Girl is Crying in Her Latte. Sparks have been in the business now for 55, 60 years, something like that. And it was interesting because I had people come up to me and say, "I don't know who that is." And I don't blame them. They're not really the most well-known duo out there. A couple of brothers still doing their sort of avant-garde, shticky fun, very far into their career. All right, second question. The album that I last bought in 2023, well, it's sort of a two-part answer. The last album that I officially bought in 2023 in my shop was Soft Cell Nonstop Erotic Cabaret. I already had actually two regular editions of this, an original and a reissue. This one was a special new anniversary edition. This is the album that featured Tainted Love originally, and this is a 2 LP set. So they added a second record of a bunch of bonus tracks, including Memorabilia, which is kind of a cult hit, the Where Did Our Love Go, which was kind of tacked on to Tainted Love on American radio, and then two extra singles, Torch and What, and some other B-side type stuff. So that was really great. But the other thing, and this is something that I actually had to order and have shipped over from England because they were only selling it from their website and no stores, and they've all since run out. But Soft Cell Happiness Now Extended. So their last album, their reunion album, after again another 20-year break. Seems like they take a lot of 20-year breaks. That came out last year. 2022 was Happiness Not Included. This is the album, but all sort of extended mixes of every song, including the addition of Nighthawks, which is probably my favorite song on the record, or one of them. It was left off the original 1 LP edition. So Soft Cell was my last purchase of 2023. Ironically, those albums, that band broke through in 1981. So what, 42 years? I think I'm starting to date myself in these videos, especially this other question. Question 3, what artist released 2 albums in 1 year? Well, Eurythmics, Sweet Dreams Are Made of This. This album came out in January of 1983, and this album, which I just did a review of, Touch, came out in November of 1983. So Sweet Dreams didn't have a very heavy wealth of singles. In fact, Sweet Dreams was the third single from the album, and the record company was sort of afraid to release it because it doesn't really have a verse. It only has choruses that repeat, sort of like a mantra. And then after that, they put out Love is a Stranger, which was a modest hit in the US. And they didn't have really anything else they felt worthy. So this album came pretty quickly, and it featured Here Comes the Rain Again, which was a top 3 hit for them in the US, top 5. I think it was at least number 4. And then Who's That Girl and Right by Your Side were also top 40 hits. So in the course of a year, um, maybe a band like the Beatles used to do it all the time, but they were still doing that in the 80s, mostly because the market was demanding it. They were so popular. So, all right, next question. Name a band from, oh, sorry, music. What decade, if you could like listen to only music from one decade, what would it be? I think obviously it's going to be the 80s for me. I don't think I need to go any further there. Question 5. What band can you name from Manchester, England? I'm going to pick the Doves. Last broadcast, this was their second album, I believe, and I love this album. Um, I think, well, I saw them on this tour with Elbow. They played in a small club in Philadelphia. It was modestly attended, and all I can remember was it was pretty dark in the room. Elbow, the lead singer, Guy Garvey, sat in a rocking chair through the whole set. They sounded fantastic. And then Doves didn't really have any stage lighting. All you could see was sort of the top of the drummer's head. Um, at the back, they were running some films, but this is a fantastic record. And I think they started out as kind of a techno band named Sub Sub. And then when there's something happened and like there was a fire or something, they lost a bunch of their equipment and started over as a rock band. And this is great. It has There Goes the Fear, Satellites, Fridays, Dust is great. Pounding is such a great single. Pounding, The Sulphur Man, Caught by the River. Oh, fantastic. Okay. I just want to name a different band because I figured most people will name like the Smiths or Oasis or something like that. All right. Name the 3 most listened to bands in 2023 for you. Well, I really kind of had 3 things that I listened to the most, and for different reasons. The album that I listened to the most in the store, I think, was this. The Lemon Twigs, their album Everything Harmony. It just was an album that it's retro, it's tuneful, it makes you feel good, and it played sort of over and over, and I could put it on and it wouldn't bother me at work. 2 young brothers from Long Island, I think. The next one is one that I played a lot also in the store, and I also played it a lot at home. But I think it was an album that I could just put on, and I was kind of exploring some older music that I didn't know. And this is a jazz record. Well, it was sort of deemed a jazz record, but it's also kind of a soul record and slightly neo soul. This is Dorothy Ashby with the Rubaiyat of Dorothy Ashby. She plays the harp, the koto. This album is about drinking wine, is sort of the theme, but it's a very mystical kind of soul album. Her voice reminds me a little of Shirley Bassey, but it's great sort of if you like that kind of more sort of spiritual soul jazz stuff. That was a cool discovery. And the other one that I played probably the most at home was Brian Eno's Ambient 4. This is Brian Eno, and it's called On Land, also is the subtitle. Features like Lizard Point, The Lost Day. These are all very quiet, ambient things. And when I came home from crazy days at work, I would play this at night just to sort of decompress. And it's a very drifty sort of kind of opens your mind. No loud drumming, no vocals or anything like that. Just yeah, so those are probably my three most played. All right, so I'm on question 7. Name 7 7-inch records, or show 7 7-inch records that you have. All right, so Elvis Costello, Watching the Detectives. This is kind of cool because it has 2 songs on the B-side, Blame It on Kane and Mystery Dance. It's got the little British punch out still. Japan, Visions of China, one of my favorite songs of the 80s. And this, I think, is also, it's also a British, it's got the hole all filled in there. B-side is Taking Islands in Africa, another song that I love. B-52's Song for a Future Generation. I'd never seen this until someone brought this in recently. It's just an American one. It has Trism on the B-side. A recent 45, Record Store Day, Amy Mann, Dead Eyes. This came out on Black Friday. This was a song that was a theme to a podcast. So I love Amy Mann. An artist that I don't know how many people know who this is, but I saw him live, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and I just loved the show, and I love his albums. He only has a couple, but Woodkid, and this is the single Goliath, and it's kind of sort of dramatic, orchestral, electronica. His voice is a little Nick Cave-ish. That's great. His albums are great. I just wanted to have that on a 45 too. Lana Del Rey doing "You'll Never Walk Alone." Yes, the song from Sound of Music, right? I believe. Is it Sound of Music? It's been so long since I've heard the song, I can't remember what it's from. If I'm wrong, you'll let me know. And 7th single, the last single that Sinead O'Connor released, that to my knowledge, this is her cover of Trouble of the World. I'm trying to remember who did. I think Mahalia Jackson was the most famous version. This was produced by David Holmes. He'd recorded a whole album of stuff with Sinead that supposedly is coming out soon. Hopefully he'll get that out, and her estate. But it's a beautiful sort of gospel-y version of that song. There's a video on YouTube. All right. Question 8. Which 4 people would you invite to an imaginary dinner party if you could? The 4 that I think I would invite, I would like to invite Elvis Costello because I think that he is a wealth of encyclopedic music knowledge and is also sort of like down to earth and would be a good conversationalist. I would also invite Neil Tennant of Pet Shop Boys because he's sort of similar in that way and seems very witty and could make like a little bit of humor or some jokes. Nick Rhodes of Duran Duran, the keyboard player. I think he would be sort of bring that Andy Warhol side a little bit. And he's met a lot of really famous, interesting people too. And I think between the 3 of them, that would be sort of interesting conversation. And then you throw in the unknown ingredient, and I would love to have Grace Jones at a dinner party because I can't imagine what she would do or say, and I think she'd be completely like predictable, and would be a lot of fun. Uh, Even though, she, you don't want to get on her bad side, obviously, but okay. That's just a fun question. Someone that we lost in 2023, question 9. I'm going to mention her again, Sinead O'Connor. Very important artist to my ears, even though she wasn't necessarily having big hits for a really long time. She did make a lot of really great records. This one has the single "Take Me to Church," which is incredible. That song, and it's kind of shocking that it wasn't any kind of a hit. Really, I don't think, um, but I think one day people will sort of go back and reassess her work and be like, she was, one of the most important voices of the generation, and a very important artist for the female cause as well, if there is such a thing. Question 10. What music, if you could only listen to music from one country, would you listen to? I suppose it would probably be England, because most of my favorite artists are, or at least I'll say Great Britain. Most of my favorite artists are from the islands there. I mean, I suppose if England and America are out of it, either Australia or Canada, maybe? I don't know. Sort of hard to choose, but England for sure. Number 11, name 3 vinyl community channels you discovered in 2023. I would probably recommend, if people want to check things out, I do like Robert Fithin's channel a little bit. I think he's kind of funny, and if you like rock music, he sort of he doesn't sugarcoat, and he has his likes, and obviously I like Craig's Vinyl Plethora a lot. That's become a real favorite of mine, because I feel like his collection sort of mirrors mine in some ways. We have a lot of similar tastes, and he's just a lot of kind of fun to watch, especially when he starts talking about like Dolly Parton or somebody like that. I would also say Rachel's Ghost. I like the live streams a little bit, although I wish they weren't so political sometimes, but I feel like they need to they're trying to sort of just talk off the cuff, which is what you do in a live stream, and not limit it to just music, because otherwise it gets a little boring. I get that. Um, I don't know. It just gets a little too on the political side, but I would recommend it. It is 3 hours every day, though, so it's a time commitment. But I give props to Rachel and the people that are on there for participating every day, because that's a lot of hard work to continue to do. I would recommend. I like David at Safe and Sound Texas. I think he has good information to share, and some of his live streams are pretty good. And I also like the Jazz Bums, who are on every Friday night, and um, I feel like I learn a lot about jazz when I watch them, even when sometimes the conversation may be a little slow. I love it when Norman Maslov and Rob the Waxed are on. People like that. They're also on Rachel's streams. They just kind of keep things a little lively. So yeah, check some of those channels out. All right. 2 records that I bought as a teenager. Let's see. The first would be the Cocteau Twins' Treasure, which is probably one of my most treasured albums. I just love the Cocteau Twins. I love them since pretty much the beginning. I think the first song I heard of theirs was Peppermint Pig or Pearly Dewdrops Drops. And from there, I was like, okay, I'm buying anything that comes out by these people. And Treasure's a really beautiful album, and that's my 4AD original. And the other one that I bought was the Cure Disintegration. This is a picture disc version. from 1989. And weirdly, it's only one record because it's a picture disc. And it's cool. And it's actually cool that it's in like a paper sleeve and not plastic. So it's not degraded over time and gotten weird. But it does cut two songs off of it because it's just too long to fit on two LPs or on one LP. So I had to buy the reissue at some point because it's a two record set and it adds those songs back to it. So this is something that I just have hanging around, but I don't play it. Plus, we all know how picture discs sound. Now, some picture discs are not bad. Okay. Name a soul or funk record. What question am I on here? 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, this is 13. Janelle Monae's ArcAndroid. I decided to pick a newer soul funk record because this is absolutely incredible. And now she's an enormously popular, highly paid actress. But hopefully that affords her the ability to keep doing records. I wasn't as much of a fan of her album that came out this year. I saw what she was trying to do with being more loose and free and kind of islandy sounding, but I really prefer like the sort of kind of science fiction aspects of this. And also, I think this just demonstrates her breadth of soul and funk and being sort of like open to a lot of different kinds of soul music. And the last track, Ba 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 Ya, and the one before it, Say You'll Go, are very kind of almost like jazz spacey kind of songs, but they're beautiful, super orchestral. I think the cover art kind of represents what the music sounds like. It's a little bit of a cut above, I think. Okay, two records, a record that everybody has and a record that nobody has. Well, a record that everybody has, I think I'll say Purple Rain. Prince is a favorite of mine, and this is his biggest selling album by far. It's sort of like Thriller for Michael Jackson. An album that I think nobody has. I mean, I can't... That's a very hard question, and obviously I don't think there are albums that nobody has, but this was close. I don't think that many people have this. This is Nikki and the Dove, and this is their album, Everybody's Heart is... I can't even remember the title. Everybody's Heart is Broken Now. This is a double record from 2016. They're Swedish, a duo, and they sound very... It's like Prince meets Stevie Nicks, and it's awesome. And I think this record goes for over $100 online. Now, I think that's actually how I had to buy it. I maybe bought it even from a Discogs seller because I couldn't even get it imported through the distributors here. So, but it's fantastic. It has a lot of great singles. It's very summery sounding. Anyway, a hard to find record, but maybe not nobody owns it. I'm sure, especially Europeans probably own that. Name a female artist. Well, here's an album that maybe nobody really has. Leslie Phillips. This is Sam Phillips before she became Sam Phillips. So Sam Phillips was married to T-Bone Burnett. This album was produced by him. And she was a kind of a contemporary Christian artist and became a cool alternative singer in the 90s. And this is sort of her last... So maybe that's the album that nobody has. And then as a female singer, then I would choose Laurie Anderson, Strange Angels, this album, as sort of her first foray into a kind of, I would say almost sort of commercial sounding vocal pop record, even though her lyrics are still like bizarro, which I love, and there's a lot of backing vocals. I believe Bobby McFerrin is all over this in the background, but anyway, and partially produced by the same guy who produced Soft Cell's Tainted Love. So anyway, also Roma Barron, who she worked with quite frequently. And she's Lou Reed's widow. Okay, let's see. Favorite video I created this year. I guess probably my best of 2023, and the albums that I play the most of the year. That was from August 6th. So, most watched video of the year. Probably Norman Maslov's, or most favorite video I watched. Norman Maslov's Wankers of 2023 video was amazing. I definitely recommend, if you have 25 minutes to kill like you do here, go watch Norman's Wanker video because it's hysterical. Okay, let's see. Question 16. We're getting close. Favorite 90s record? I'll go with Portishead's self-titled album. I did a review of this a few months back, and I just think that this is probably one of the most interesting, evocative records of the 90s. And the fact that they recorded it and then degraded the recording to make it sound like an old recording, and then recorded it back to tape again. And Beth Gibbons' vocals, stylings, every song is like a different personality. It's just really wonderful and strange and noir and haunting. I love it. Let's see. If I could walk into any album cover, this is question 18, what album cover would I want to walk into? This was an interesting question because I started looking at album covers and they're all kind of sinister in a way. I was like, I don't really want to be in any of these. Like even the cartoony ones, like I love Prince's Around the World in a Day cover, but I was like, do I want to be trapped in a weird cartoon land? No. So I picked the Associates' Sulk. The reason being, these guys look super comfortable on this kind of lounge, although it probably isn't. It looks like a sheet draped over like a bench. And then they're sitting in front of all these strangely neon lit tropical plants. I'm like, this looks like kind of a fun place to hang out, right? Maybe get some drinks and just chill. I don't know. That's a weird question, but it's fun. All right, and a record that plays like a greatest hits from beginning to end. Like there's not a song that you could skip. Well, I think for pop records, I gotta go with Pet Shop Boys Very, and I probably have talked about this on the channel before too. But this album from beginning to end for me, 12 songs, not a single skippable song. They're just all super poppy. Every song could have been a single. In fact, I think 5 of the 12 songs were released as singles, maybe 6, I can't remember. But it's just a super great pop album, even if there weren't like pop hits in the US. The UK had quite a few hits from that. And the last question, name a record released 50 years ago in 1974, and I'll take it full circle and name the band that I named as the first question, which was my favorite album of 2023 being Sparks, Girls Crying in Her Latte. And from 50 years ago now, from 2024 going back to 1974, Sparks, Kimono, My House. So that's what they looked like when they were much younger. And this album is incredible, features their debut major hit in the UK anyway. This Town Ain't Big Enough for the Both of Us. Also features Amateur Hour. I think Talent is an Asset. I can't remember. I can't see. It's so dark. But great album. All right, that's enough for I wanted to keep this under a half hour. Thank you so much for joining me. Rock on Vinyltag 2024. I don't know if I'll do this again. It's a lot of work, and it's been busy still in January. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks to everybody who has enriched my life with their music this year and their opinions and their videos, and I hope that I'm spreading the love. That's really what this is all about, right? So peace. Have a wonderful 2024. Maybe I'll see you at the beginning of 25. All right, take care.